Everyone, this is Nikachu, and today I'd love to talk about the format that skyrocketed into the air and then crashed and burned at the same time. We're going to talk about Pioneer. What the hell happened in 2020? It was hands down the format with the most velocity. It got so popular so quickly, and then all of a sudden, boom, it went down in flames. A lot like a NASCAR that went wrong. And sure, they put the fires out with the fire extinguishers, but I can still smell the burning rubber. So let's talk about it. But first off, quick shout out to my sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. I mean, if you need Pioneer singles, Fusion Gaming's got your back with a huge wide inventory of everything from commons all the way to mythic rares. You can support the channel and get 5% off at checkout when using coupon code Nikachu. So first off, let's just talk about what made Pioneer so popular in the first place. And the first is just the cost. I mean, it was just strictly cheaper than Modern. Everyone wants to get into Modern. Yes, everyone argues about Modern, keep complaining about the power level, this and that, but they still want to get into Modern. But here's the problem. If you got $300, you can't exactly buy the full $800 archetype. I mean, Modern decks, on average, they were getting pretty pricey, especially because of the fetch lands. The fetch land added a huge cost to every single Modern deck. So instead of spending $300 on a budget version of a tier 2 deck, well, you spend the whole $300. Get yourself a fully fledged tier 1 deck in Pioneer. It's like going to an expensive restaurant with your friends, and you only got $10 on you. After looking at the menu, all you can afford is a glass of water. Take that $10, go to McDonald's, get yourself a full class meal. That's how people felt when they moved from Modern to Pioneer. Another thing that made Pioneer so special was that the power level was significantly reduced. There was way less powerful cards. People didn't have to compete with like turn 3 Karn or turn 2 Blood Moon or turn 2 Wind via like Infect. For the most part, the power level was significantly reduced, way more clunky, much more closer to standard when you looked at Pioneer. Not to mention the fetch lands also reduced the power level significantly. There was less need to ban cards like Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, Deathrite Shaman, because those fetch lands are not fueling those cards. Mystic Sanctuary is not a problem in Pioneer because you can't fetch it out. One thing that sparked the fires of the Pioneer players was that they had a chance to play with their favorite standard deck, or at least try to upgrade it into another format. And while these standard decks did not exactly survive the test of time, they could play with their old standard cards. That was the purpose, original purpose for Modern, but doesn't work out because the power level of Modern is so high. It basically pushes out all the standard cards, not so in Pioneer. A lot of your old standard cards now have a home in this new non-rotating format. And lastly, this format was meant to be diverse. Wizards of the Coast made a policy that for the first few months, every single week, they're going to be banning cards, making sure the top deck is no longer the top deck, and we're going to have a nice, clean, diverse format every single week. Oh, this deck is too good? You banned. That deck is too good? You banned. That deck is too good? You banned. And it kept the format really fresh, super exciting. This policy at the time proved that aggressive bannings meant for a much more fun format. So there was a lot of hype for this format. People were buying the cards, getting the decks, going to the local game store. Tournaments were bursting from the seams. They had a pro tour, and then crash. What the hell happened? Let's start off with reason number 1, probably the single most important reason for the fall of Pioneer in 2020, and that was COVID. There's nothing's going to ruin your plans for going to F&M like a worldwide plague. We could not play with our cards anymore. Most people bought the paper cards. And sure, you could say, oh yeah, well, why don't you just play online? They got Pioneer online. Look, a lot of people are very intimidated about buying cards a second time in digital form because that's so weird. Who would do that? Who would buy the deck a second time? Let me know in the comment section below if you're one of those people. I know I am. So the dominant number of Pioneer players who bought the cards were hyped for the format, going out to the tournaments. Now all of a sudden, they're forced to stay at home. You can't go anywhere. Nobody can go anywhere. Nothing killed the momentum of Pioneer harder than COVID in 2020. Now this sort of had a cascading effect going forward. For example, there's no more paper events that could showcase the format and keep the buzz going. For example, One of the main reasons I think Wizards created the Pioneer format was to create a replacement for Legacy in the team events. Team events were insanely popular moving on to the end of 2019 and moving forward in 2020. Star City Games and Wizards of the Coast, they were dropping Legacy as a format in their large events, and the replacement was going to be Pioneer. People loved the team events. Win as a team, lose as a team. Unless you're one of those losers that are like, oh, my team went 3-5, but I went 7-1. Well, now that I think of it, I'm one of those losers. Hey, if you're one of me, let me know in the comment section below. So far we've talked about aspects that have crashed the momentum of Pioneer, but why couldn't it make a recovery? The first reason is that they stopped banning cards at the wrong time. Unfortunately, Pioneer's best policy of banning cards every week was only limited. The moment they turned their back on the format, it went to shit immediately. There were 3 premier tier 1 combo decks that were born around this time. We're talking the Dimir Inverter deck, the Mono White Devotion Heliod Walking Ballista deck, and also the Lotus Breach deck. These were very strong, hard to interact with combo decks that featured cards from the new set Theros Beyond Death at the time. Well, that's just fantastic. Combo decks that are using the new cards from the brand new set, Thassa's Oracle, Heliod Sun's Crown, and Underworld Breach. Wizards certainly wouldn't want to ban cards from decks that were using their new cards from the new set, now would they? Like, the one moment we need bans, Wizards does fuck all. So the combo decks took over. The diversity completely washed away. All those unique decks gone. Wizards even looked at the data, said, Dimir Inverter, it's winning at like 50%. You know what, Wizards? If Dimir Inverter faces itself over and over again, like 2 to 3 times a league, yeah, the win percentage might be 50% because it's up against itself all the time. So the combo decks, they took over. There weren't sufficient answers for these combo decks, so whenever you play Pioneer, it's just combo, 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 combo. Combo Central. Now, there are some good combos out there, but they all involve a burger, fry, and a Coke. So why couldn't the format recover? Well, the streamers barely gave it any exposure. I mean, you only have to play a few leagues and you realize you're up against the same decks over and over again. That's not fun to play. It's also not even great for the spectators to watch. So the streamers fucked off. They went to go play another format that has diversity. They went back to, of course, Modern. So for about 6 months, Wizards of the Coast does nothing. They do nothing at all. Of course, this is fine. No problem here. But one day, Outrage speaks up on Twitter, on Reddit. Nobody's playing the format. The numbers have completely collapsed. Somebody save it. It was great in the beginning. We need to do something. So they take action by banning the combo decks. All of them got an axe. It was too late. 6 months too late. The momentum of the format was lost, and Wizards since then hasn't done anything to motivate the community. Pioneer took off like dynamite because there was a Pro Tour people had to be prepared for. But now, there aren't any Pro Tours for Pioneer. Not to say that Pioneer is gone forever. It's going to make a comeback when the people who own the cards, who had the grassroots interest in this format, they can play with them. Are you one of those people waiting to play with your paper Pioneer cards? Let us all know in the comments section below. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to give a like and also subscribe for more, or else your Pioneer cards will catch on fire.